Can I tell you something that might be a little uncomfortable? Some of the biggest things holding tarot readers back aren't mistakes. They're beliefs. Beliefs that sound wise, beliefs that sound spiritual, beliefs that get repeated so often in tarot communities that eventually nobody questions them anymore. And the strange thing is, the harder you believe some of these things, the harder it becomes to trust yourself. You buy another deck, watch another tutorial, read another book, take another course, yet somehow you still don't feel confident. You still hesitate before speaking your interpretation. You still wonder if you're doing it right. And maybe you've even caught yourself looking at other readers and thinking, what do they have that I don't? What secret have they figured out that I'm missing? But what if the problem isn't that you need more knowledge? What if the problem isn't that you aren't intuitive enough? What if you've simply inherited a few beliefs about tarot that were never true in the first place? Today I want to talk about 7 tarot myths that quietly keep readers stuck. And by the end of this video, I think there's a very good chance you'll recognize at least one of them in yourself. Maybe more. Because I know I certainly did. Some of these myths kept me second-guessing myself for years. And once I finally saw them for what they were, everything about my relationship with tarot began to change. The first myth is that you have to be psychic to read tarot. Maybe you've thought this too. Maybe you've watched readers online who seem to receive information effortlessly. They speak confidently. They describe intuitive impressions. Sometimes they appear deeply connected to something invisible. And it's easy to look at that and think, I don't have that. I can't do that. Maybe tarot just isn't for me. But let's pause for a moment. Think about what tarot actually is. At its heart, tarot is a symbolic language. It's a collection of images, stories, archetypes, and human experiences. The cards reflect things that already exist inside all of us. Love, fear, hope, grief, desire, change, healing. You don't need supernatural abilities to recognize those things. You need curiosity. You need observation. You need a willingness to pay attention. Now, can intuition become stronger over time? Absolutely. Many readers believe it does. But that's very different from believing you must already possess extraordinary psychic abilities before you're allowed to trust yourself. The problem is that many people spend years waiting to feel gifted enough, waiting to feel intuitive enough, waiting for some magical moment when they finally become a real tarot reader. And often that confidence never arrives because confidence wasn't supposed to come first. Confidence usually comes from doing the thing, from showing up, from reading, from making mistakes, from learning, from building a relationship with the cards. The second myth is that you need to memorize all 78 cards before you can read confidently. I think almost every tarot reader has fallen into this trap at some point. You pull a card, you don't remember every meaning, so you think you're not ready. You think you need another book, another course, another guide, more study. And don't get me wrong, learning tarot matters. Studying tarot matters. But many people approach tarot as though it's an exam they need to pass before they're allowed to trust themselves. So they keep preparing and preparing and preparing. Yet somehow they never feel ready. The truth is, confidence rarely comes from knowing everything. It comes from experience. Think about learning a language. You don't wait until you've memorized every word before speaking. You start speaking. You stumble. You make mistakes. You improve. Tarot works the same way. The cards become familiar because you spend time with them, not because you've achieved perfect memorization. In fact, one of the most beautiful things about tarot is that you never stop discovering new meanings. A card you've worked with for years can suddenly reveal something you've never noticed before. A symbol, a facial expression, a tiny detail, a new perspective. And that's not a sign you're doing tarot wrong. That's a sign you're developing a deeper relationship with the cards. The third myth is the belief that your first interpretation is usually wrong. And honestly, I think this one affects almost every reader. Have you ever done this? You pull a card, and immediately something stands out. A feeling, a thought, a phrase, a symbol, a message. But almost as quickly another voice appears. No, that's probably wrong. So you start second-guessing yourself. You open the guidebook, you search online, you watch a video, you ask someone else. And before long, you've moved so far away from your original impression that you've forgotten what it even was. Now, am I saying every first impression is always correct? Of course not. We're human. But there's a huge difference between checking your interpretation and automatically distrusting it. Many readers have developed a habit of rejecting their own insights before they've even explored them. Imagine having a conversation with someone who interrupts every sentence you say. Eventually, communication becomes impossible. And in many ways, that's what happens when we constantly interrupt our own intuition. Sometimes the first thing you notice is important for a reason. Sometimes the card is trying to draw your attention somewhere specific. And if you immediately dismiss that, you may miss something valuable. The fourth myth is the idea that every card has one correct meaning. At first, this sounds reasonable. After all, books give meanings. Teachers give meanings. Traditions give meanings. Surely there must be one right answer. But tarot isn't mathematics. The cards don't exist in a vacuum. Context changes everything. The same card can mean something different depending on the question, depending on the person, depending on the surrounding cards, depending on the situation. Think about the Hermit. One day it might speak about solitude, another day wisdom, another day self-reflection, another day healing, another day needing space from other people's opinions. None of those interpretations are automatically wrong. The card is alive within the reading, and that's one of the reasons tarot remains so fascinating. Many readers become trapped because they're searching for certainty, where tarot is actually inviting conversation. The fifth myth is that good tarot readers never get it wrong. I think this myth creates more perfectionism than people realize. Many readers secretly believe that experienced readers always know exactly what a card means, that they never doubt themselves, that they never miss details, that they never make mistakes. But that's simply not reality. Every experienced reader has had readings that didn't make sense in the moment. Every experienced reader has misunderstood cards. Every experienced reader has looked back and realized they missed something. The difference isn't that experienced readers are perfect. The difference is that they don't expect perfection. They don't treat every mistake as evidence that they shouldn't be reading tarot. They understand that growth comes through experience. Because tarot isn't a performance, it's a practice, and practices evolve. The sixth myth is one you've probably experienced firsthand, the belief that the scary cards predict disaster. You probably know exactly which cards I'm talking about. Death, the Tower, the Devil, Ten of Swords. For many readers, these cards create instant anxiety. The mind immediately jumps to worst-case scenarios. Something bad is coming. Something terrible is about to happen. But what if the fear isn't actually coming from the card? What if it's coming from the story we've attached to the card? Some of the most powerful and transformative readings people ever receive contain these very cards. Because transformation is not always comfortable. Growth is not always comfortable. Truth is not always comfortable. The Tower often appears when something false can no longer be maintained. Death often appears when a chapter is ending so another can begin. The Devil can reveal patterns that are finally ready to be seen. And the Ten of Swords often appears when a difficult chapter has run its course and can no longer continue. These cards are not punishments. They're messengers. And the more we fear them, the less we're able to hear what they're actually trying to say. And finally, the seventh myth may be the most important of all, the belief that tarot knows better than you do. This is where many people unknowingly give away their power. They ask the cards what decision to make, what relationship to choose, what job to take, what path to follow, again and again, almost hoping the cards will remove uncertainty from life. But uncertainty is part of being human. No deck can live your life for you. No card can experience your journey for you. No reading can replace your own wisdom. Tarot can offer perspective, insight, awareness, reflection. It can illuminate possibilities. It can reveal blind spots. It can help you understand yourself more deeply. But it was never meant to replace your ability to choose. The healthiest relationship with tarot is not one of dependence, it's one of partnership. The cards illuminate, you decide. The cards reveal possibilities. You choose your direction. The cards offer perspective. You remain the authority in your own life. And when that shift happens, everything changes. Because suddenly tarot becomes less about seeking permission and more about seeking understanding. And maybe that's what all of these myths have in common. Every single one of them pulls you away from yourself. They tell you that you're not ready, that you're not gifted enough, that you're not knowledgeable enough, that you're not accurate enough, that someone else knows better. But tarot was never meant to separate you from your inner wisdom. It was meant to help you reconnect with it. And perhaps that's the biggest myth of all, that tarot is about the cards, when in reality, tarot has always been about the relationship between the cards and the person holding them. And that person is you.